So hey guys, welcome to another episode of IPL Buck Buck. Today we'll be talking about Chennai Super Kings, three-time champions, and let's start with the playing 11. So on to you, Akshat. What do you think?
So I think Faf picks himself. I'd start with Faf and a left field choice of Sam Curran. So you have the righty lefty combination going. And I think Sam Curran's a good choice because he also has the technique to bat in your top four. We've seen how well he's done in Test cricket. I think he
Yeah,
got 100 against India, if I'm not wrong. And the last ODI also he batted phenomenally. Hit proper cricketing strokes. So I'd give him a run of games at the top. Number three, Chinna Thala is back. So you have Raina batting at three. You would have Raidu at four. Moeen Ali, their latest purchase at five.
interesting.
MS Dhoni at six. Jadeja at seven. So Jadeja and Dhoni are going to share the responsibilities of finishing. And this is what they've been doing year in, year out for the last, I think, 8 or 9 seasons. So I'd
Yep.
go with Dhoni Jadeja. Shardul Thakur's batting has really come of age. So I'd have Thakur at eight. He'd probably, in my opinion, be the best number eight in the IPL. Number nine, I'd have Deepak Chahar, who's also no mug with the bat. Number 10, I would actually go with Jason Behrendorff. To start with, I'd
Just to
have
clarify, Behrendorff comes in for Hazelwood in this team sheet we presented as a replacement because of COVID regulations.
and number 11, the ever experienced Karan Sharma. So if you notice this team, a couple of things will strike you. The first is that Dhoni loves options and he has plentiful bowling options. You have a leg spinner in Karan Sharma, you have an off spinner in Moeen Ali, and a left arm spinner in Jadeja. So you have all three spinners playing. You have Jason Behrendorff and Sam Curran, two left arm quicks, and then you have Shardul Thakur and Deepak Chahar, right arm quicks. So essentially, you have seven bowlers who are each capable of giving you 4 overs each. And that's what Dhoni loves. He loves the team which is full of options. So he could just look in the direction of that player and toss him the ball depending on the match situation. And I also see this is a very balanced team. The last year, the main issue with CSK was the fact that they didn't have too many aggressors or they lacked intent. And that's the reason I've started with Faf as well as Karan. Rituraj has performed brilliantly last year, but his strike rate was along the lines of 110, 120. And I think T20 cricket, and with this middle order especially, which lacks a little bit of game time, they need a bit of a cushion to get in. So you can't have your openers not utilizing the power play. And thus have a Karan and a Faf who strike it quite well from ball one. Raina Raidu, a little bit of a concern because, like I said before, they haven't played too much. But year in, year out, we see them show up for CSK and do well despite not really having much game time. Moeen Ali is somebody who can give them that impetus or that catalysis in the middle overs. We saw him in the last test match he played before heading home. The way he was hitting sixes off will is no mean thing. I think he hit Kuldeep for about 3 sixes in an over, if I'm not wrong, in a test match. So to have Moeen Ali there, Dhoni is very crucial to note which Dhoni shows up, the Dhoni of the yesteryears that we know or the Dhoni of last season. And that's what essentially ties this team together. No one doubts Dhoni the leader, but Dhoni the batter has come into question or has faced a significant amount of criticism over the last couple of years. In fact, the beauty of this 11 is that if Dhoni is struggling, he doesn't really need to bat and the job can still be done. So you can move a Shardul Thakur up one position and a Jadeja up one position, and there you have seven batters who are actually good enough to get you 200 runs on a good day. So that is the 11. Shiv, Ahan, if you all have any alternative suggestions to make.
So Shiv, moving on to you. I mean, Akshat's presented us with 11 fantastic players, but if you look at this Chennai team, you can build a player with the a team with the remaining 14 players, which is as good as this team Akshat's just presented. He's decided to leave out experienced IPL legends such as Robin Uthappa, um, South Africa's third pace option at the moment in Lungi Ngidi, and possibly CSK's best spinner in this latest IPL shake-up round in Imran Tahir. Is there any way in which you can compensate these players?
For me, firstly, I'm not sure why you would go with three spinners. I mean, you're not playing at Chepauk. I don't think the track CSK are going to play on. I don't think you're going to need three spinners there. Secondly, instead of Karan, I would open with Moeen Ali because I think he can hit more, and I think he'd be a better number two than Karan. And I think Karan can play at 5, 6, 7 anywhere. So I think that is a better alternative. And other than that, you can also open with Ruturaj Gaikwad or even someone like Robin Uthappa because he's played very recently in domestic cricket. So I think CSK have a lot of options there. I think apart from that, the lineup is pretty fixed more or less. Dhoni, Jadeja, Thakur, Chahar, all four of them start. Fav starts, Raina, Raidu start. So they do have options and they just need to decide what they can do with it. Imran Tahir, I'm not too sure about. I don't know how he'll perform. We didn't really see too much of him last year. So not quite sure about him, but he could definitely be an option as well. But my first question for Akshat would be why three spinners?
So I think one thing I want to shift is that while I've played three spinners, I haven't really compensated on the fast bowling options as such. Even with this current 11 that I've selected, I have four quality fast bowlers playing. So I
Hmm.
have a Sam Curran and a Jason Behrendorff. I have a Deepak Chahar and a Shardul Thakur. So they're all four international fast bowlers who are playing. And Dhoni is somebody who loves the options. He's more on the lines of, if you have two righties playing, he will want a left arm spinner bowling till he gets the wicket or a leg spinner bowling. And as soon as that's done, he's going to take the bowler off the attack. So if you notice an average CSK game sheet, he uses about 7 bowlers with
Yeah.
probably 2 bowlers finishing their four over quota. So I think that's the reason I picked three spinners, and I think this bowling attack can do well on any surface. You take them to the Chepauk, even though they're not playing this year on a Chepauk or in Eden Gardens, they're going to thrive. So that's the reason I've taken this. I like the idea of Moeen Ali opening because, again, he as well is a little more aggressive. But I'm not sure about whether he possesses the technique to open the batting anymore. Initially, he started opening for England and he didn't do too well, so they moved him down the order. So I don't know whether he has it in him to move back up the order and do well. Because we're not looking at someone on the lines of, Sunil Narayan who just come in and say, 10 ball mein 25 run chahiye. He's somebody who like you play 8 games and you give me 250, 300 runs and your job is done. And thus I had a Sam Curran to do that.
That makes sense. Okay.
Just another observation. In this playing 11 you've made, another big name I see missing is Dwayne Bravo, someone who's been probably as big as a Dhoni or a Jadeja to this Chennai Super Kings unit ever since it's become its champion side. Is there any way Bravo comes into this 11? Maybe as an alternative for Moen, or maybe an alternative for Karan if in the entirety of the 11?
See, if you look at Bravo's performances over the last couple of years, his batting has really faded away. He's almost playing as a bowler. And that too a death over. He's not somebody who's going to give you 4 overs and concede less than an economy rate of 8. And I think Shardul Thakur has come of age. He's been playing well for India. He carries an immense amount of confidence into this season. So I see the duty or the responsibility of death bowling being shared by a Thakur, a Chahar, and a Behrendorff. So I do see. I know what you're trying to say when you're saying Bravo is one of those first names, or used to be one of the first names, but I don't think he still possesses those same skill sets that he would bring onto the table 3 years back. 3 years back, he was also a designated finisher. He was a gun fielder and a death over specialist. His batting has gone off age. His fielding's obviously there, but now you have other people to fill the role that he essentially played.
Now let's move on to something which maybe interests the viewers a little more. MS Dhoni. So at the end of the previous season, Danny Morrison asked him if this is the last time you're going to see him, and he obviously said it wasn't. But as we approach this season, is this the last time you're going to see him? I mean, he's done from international cricket, and it seems as if he's moving on from cricket. So do you think we're going to see him again at the end of IPL 14?
I think two things I'd like to say. The first thing is I would close read what he said to Danny Morrison. He said definitely not. So the word definitely gives me hope to believe that he's going to play a couple more seasons. So he's going to be there the next mega option. if he had to retire or hang his boots, he'd probably say, yeah, maybe a year or two more. So definitely not would make me believe the fact that he feels that he has it in him to play a good 3-4 seasons or till the next IPL auction cycle. Second thing, if you notice Dhoni's track record, he left the test team, but he built a team before he left. He left the ODI team and the T20 team when he knew that there were different people who could take on the responsibility and roles, such that there was not too much of a void that he left. So essentially, he groomed the next generation before he retired. With this CSK team, I don't think they're anywhere close to let Dhoni go. He may not play as an active batsman anymore because his game's probably deteriorated, but he may play as the leader Dhoni. So you could see another season or a couple of seasons of him probably batting at 8, sometimes not even batting, but being there behind the stumps, showing his teammates what to do or how it's done. So I see Dhoni the captain there. I don't see Dhoni the batsman there.
Shiv, would you retain him for the next mega auction, considering you might have to pay him upwards of 15 crores just for him to build the next team? Would you retain him?
I don't think it's up to anyone at CSK to retain him or not. I think they're all pretty loyal to each other. Fleming, Dhoni, especially, I think they're pretty loyal to each other. I don't think Fleming will let him go unless he wants to go himself. For me, a major factor would be whether Dhoni wants to retire himself. I think obviously for him, serving the country is the most important thing. I mean, he missed his daughter's birth and then he wasn't there for a month just because he wanted to play for India. So I think for him, if he doesn't play well this season, then he's gonna think about whether he should retire or not. If he plays well, then I think it's a definite yes, he'll definitely continue. But if he doesn't play well, I think he's someone who will then go and think about whether he should continue or not. But other than that, I think he's someone who should definitely continue because
Yeah, so I'm sorry we got cut out there. So yeah, Shiv, so uh, we were talking about Dhoni and how you think he serves the country and he prioritizes the country um, over his personal life. So please go ahead.
So for me, it's very simple. If Dhoni doesn't play well, then he'll go and think if he should continue or not. If he plays well, then he's continuing anyway because they need him to rebuild the CSK side in the mega auction that's going to happen next year. It's as simple as that. If he doesn't play well, then he has to think about it. Otherwise, it's definitely not a question for me at least.
Okay, well, I think that sums it up. We have two contrasting views, one from a CSK fan and one from a KKR fan. And now, guys, I mean, there's only one thing left to discuss. Where do you think this team could potentially finish in the points table?
So though I am a CSK fan, I've been a CSK fan since the inception of the IPL. I would hate to admit the fact that I'm also a realist. So it's more about the heavy legs that these individuals carry, and I'm not too sure about how they're going to maintain those levels of fitness for a grueling tournament like the IPL. So I would say I wouldn't want to say that they're going to finish last, but they're probably going to finish in the bottom half of the table, somewhere ranging between 6th and 8th. And if I were to take a punt, I would say 6th position for CSK.
Sure.
Probably between 5th and 6th for me. I don't think they have what it takes to finish in the top 4 and try to win the title. So I think between 5th and 6th.
So both these gentlemen seem to think that CSK are going to have a better season than they had last season, finishing a spot higher at least. Please let us know what you all think and watching this video. Sorry?
What do you think about where they're going to finish?
Sir, I don't share my opinions. I only host the meeting. So we'll see. Whatever I think will end up happening. Let's assume it that way. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for watching our video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you all again in the next video. Thank you again.